And now, this week's edition of Big Face with your host, Samantha Jane Tilton.
Hey everybody, welcome to Big Face. I'm your host, Sammy Jane Tilton, and my guest today, the one and only Kabe Park, actor, entrepreneur, my best friend. What up?
What's up? How are you?
How are you?
Not bad. Finally, I get to be on the show.
Yeah, shut up. I've been asking you for like 3 months. It's so funny, guys, because KB and I are acting like we haven't talked. We literally were just together like an hour ago recording a documentary. Because that's what we do, man. We stay active as actors. So what's going on? So tell me a little bit about our experience today so other people can hear about it.
Yeah, that was so Vibo, he's a friend of mine who I've worked with in the past. We did a short film together and then entered a contest on a different short film. So I've known him for about 5 or 6 years on different projects, and we've kept in touch. And he told me that he was doing a documentary named 19, based on COVID-19, and he wanted to do an interview of me. And I said, sure, of course. Yeah, I'd love to. Just another way to kind of continue the outlet of, our feelings and just trying to stay creative during this time. And he asked me if I knew anyone else interested. And then I thought of you. And yeah, we both did it today on our block.
That was on your block. That was awesome.
That was really good.
It was really nice. And it's so funny because you said that you shot a short with him before that it didn't get finished because the building you were shooting in got demolished like beforehand. Is that what happened?
Yeah, so we kind of lucked out with the venue, and it was this beautiful, huge building. It was like a church. It was like a really large building in the Bronx. And I guess they were getting ready to demolish it. But before the actual demolition, his friend, he knew somebody who owned the building and said, we have free reign over that building to shoot and do whatever we want.
Awesome.
Yeah.
That's like a filmmaker's dream. Like you have this building, do whatever the hell you want. That's awesome.
Right. And we could have literally just like broken stuff and like run around and just, and anything in there we could use as props. And so it was amazing. And I remember it was in the dead of winter and it was freezing. And we were moving equipment around. It was just me and a couple of other actors. And we had some great shots and we wanted to finish it. And then it turns out the following week that there have been reports that there might have been asbestos or such things in the building. No big deal.
Good times.
So we put it on hold, and then scheduling got a little bit messed up, and then we never got to finish it, but we might still, maybe.
It sounded cool. I mean, you had never told me, like, so we're best friends. And so we know bits and pieces about but you've been doing this for years. So I didn't know, meaning he's been acting for years. And I didn't know about that short, that it never got finished.
Yeah. So it was called, it had a lot of different names, but
as they do.
Exactly. It was like a revolving script, and we've been meaning to finish it because even without the building, we needed some sort of conclusion. So, like you heard us today, maybe we might pick it back up, fast forward Tarantino style, 2 years.
That's what I said. I'm like, just put like 2 years later, boom, new location, people died, you got new actors, whatever.
Exactly. I mean, I'm so glad I reconnected with him. Part of it because I switched computers and I was looking to get back some of the old footage. And that's how this whole thing came about.
That's how that happened?
Yeah. We started talking again after about a year. I think the last time I spoke to him was about a year ago. And then, and he's working on all these separate projects and then this documentary. So
it was really cool, man. Today was that, well, I want to see some footage of that. Do you have any, or can you ask him for some of that, even though it's not finished?
No, I have the whole, I've taken clips of it for my reel. Yeah. So I'll show it to you.
I want to see it. Yeah. You're like, you haven't seen my reel?
No. Yeah. So it was, it's like the first 15, 20 minutes of the film, and then it just kind of stopped. So I think he used it for a couple of things here and there, but we never got to finish it. But I'm actually hopeful, based on today's conversation, that maybe we'll finish it.
Today was really, really awesome. So guys, we literally shot in front of Kabe's building today. Vidlo. Am I saying his name correctly? Vidlo?
Vibo.
Oh.
Vibol. Yeah.
Oh, Vibo. I said it wrong today. Sorry, man. Next time I promise I'll do it right. But he was lovely. So we just shot. I mean, we stayed distance. We had masks on except for when we were behind camera, Kabe and I. And we just, I mean, I won't ruin what his documentary is about, but I mean, it was really cool. I was telling him, like, the questions that he asked were awesome. And it, you know, when you just vibe with people you create with, Kabe, you're so right about this guy. He was really nice, really awesome. And tell us what happened at the end.
So he asked us after having interviewed us that he said that if we're interested in shooting anything together, that he'd be happy to do a project with us, which, as you know, was just very serendipitous, because you and I have been talking about creating a web series.
It's true. I was laughing because when you were just talking about that short had many different titles, I was laughing thinking about the title that we started. Kabe has a working title for our web series, which is pretty awesome. It may be used, but I was laughing about it, thinking about it, because it is very catchy.
Yeah, and it just goes to show you, and one of the things that I've kind of taken your advice and this time is just saying yes to new experiences, right? Because it's not that we have an abundance of time, but we do have more flexibility with our time. And so whatever new experience you participate in, whether it's a Zoom meeting, a bingo night, a game night, whatever it is, but that you never know who you're going to meet or what sort of connection you're going to make and how these different worlds can come together. And I've been learning through this particular experience that it's just, you have to be out there. And you have to be active, because nothing's going to happen if you're sitting at home watching TV.
Something's happened. I mean,
yeah.
I really like it.
Right.
We tell each other about what we watch. That happens.
Yeah, no, totally. So not to take anything away from it, because it's very much needed a lot of times. But yeah, it's just the community, our artist community. And when we come together and we find these, I don't know, these souls that match. And once you find it, like, it felt like today, it was just like, I mean, you got along with him so well. He just jived with you. And, there was just such a great rapport that, he just asked us, because he's known me for a while. So I think I'm really excited about this opportunity to materialize something that you and I have been talking about for a while. And we have great ideas. So I think they're great ideas.
I think they're great ideas. I think you guys will think they're great ideas too.
And now we have a director who's interested in shooting it. So it's going to happen, folks.
It's going to happen. We're going to continue putting, I was going to say pen to paper, but like, we're going to keep typing on our screenplay. But there was something I was just going to say. Yeah, about like, when you kind of just vibe with another soul, like it's really cool. And it's really cool how it's unexpected, because Kabe and I always talk about it. We are so different. And that's what we were saying to Viblo today. Like, you and I are so different in so many ways. And you would not think that we would click so well or become best friends. Like, we are so different, but yet in the ways that for whatever reason, the ways that matter, we connect so strongly. And I feel like, it's such a beautiful thing. And then you're so different from me, and yet he vibes with you. And, I'm so different from you, and him and I vibe. And it's really good energy all around.
Yeah, it really is. And it was just so organic the way the whole thing came about, because, a lot of times with projects, not just us, but there's a lot of the creating process often takes longer than it should, because we procrastinate and other things come up in life.
Tis true.
But this is, the perfect sort of, fire to kind of get us going. And and he obviously he has multiple projects going on. So he's editing, and I think you can find him at Vibo Films, is his company. But he's working on.
Actually, we should put that with his permission along with this episode, so people can look at his work, because he's awesome.
Yeah, so the documentary he's working on is called 19. He did a 30-minute film that's a proof of concept for a feature. And yeah, and he's, you know, he's within this community. He first asked us whether we felt comfortable enough to be together and shoot. And then once we got past that, this is just an exciting opportunity for people, for like-minded artists to collaborate and create something.
Totally. Always looking out. So yeah, no, it's a great opportunity to collaborate. And yeah, I love that you said that. Like, you've been saying yes to things more. I feel like, and you just said like creative people can, I'll speak for myself. I can definitely procrastinate. And I think you can as well, but you are a very hard worker with everything that you do. But you and I both in our own ways can kind of put things off, or I'll speak for myself, isolate. I don't know if you can identify with that.
Of course, yeah.
But I feel like it's really great. And it's a great thing to have support and to not do things alone in any part of life, but especially in the creative world, because it can feel really difficult for myself. I feel like a lot of times I can't find my way or don't have the answers. And having someone like you that gets it, that gets this business, but that also gets me, you push me. You know how to push me and when to push me. And you know when to let me be and like, be like, all right, you can sit in that. But then like tomorrow, fucking commit to me that you're going to work on your monologue. Like,
yes, you still have that alarm set, don't you?
it's every Sunday. It's Kabe and Sammy time.
Exactly. And I think it's not just, it's not one way. I mean, we bring that out in each other, and it's,
yeah,
you know, it's just, once you get the momentum going, it's like the joy that we find in doing the work is just, it's not forced. It's just so alive in us that we're like, oh man, why aren't we doing this more often?
I know.
You know, it's like, oh, we should do this every day. And then tomorrow, like, oh, well, you know, check out this new show.
Yeah.
Right?
I love it. And like, it's so funny because, yeah, I'm just laughing at us. But yeah, like, I'm just thinking my alarm on my phone is the Kabe alarm. It's every morning. So I have an alarm set every morning. It's 9:55, like just in case I don't wake up, even though I wake up at like 7. It's like the alarm always says, Kabe says, work on your fucking monologue. It's been like that for like at least a year. And that's my every morning alarm.
I love it. I love that you didn't turn it off.
It never is off. It's every morning a reminder. Ask me how many times I actually work on it.
Well, we'll work on that. But yeah, and then we had another alarm for every Sunday.
That one I still have.
Yeah, 1 o'clock or 2 o'clock.
1 to 2 o'clock, yeah.
Yeah, we'd get together and whatever sides we wanted to work on. And this was well before. I mean, this was for the past, year as well, where we were just trying to find time to go over sides. We didn't have an audition. Well, okay, so we still can work together.
Work the muscle.
Work the muscle on monologues or sides or whatever it was. But an acting teacher once told me that you have to be in front of the camera or in front of an audience at least twice a week, like at the bare minimum. It's just not the same if you just let that muscle stay idle.
It's so true though, because even like when I had that during this quarantine time, I had what the heck is it called? Oh, I had a Zoom audition. I'm like, what is this program called? Zoom. I had a Zoom audition. And while it's totally, Kabe remembers the role, I think, but it was totally like in my wheelhouse. It was very natural for me. But as soon as I went to go rehearse it with Kabe, I was so nervous. Like, and Kabe's my best friend, but that's the muscle. It's like, it's one thing to do it for me as an actor by myself and in my head or maybe out loud to myself, but then having another person's eyes and ears, it's like, it doesn't even matter how close you are. It's just the butterflies go like, oh, it gets so nervous.
I know, it's so funny. Like we humans are like so aware, right? And no matter how comfortable you are with the other person, it's just, yeah. Even with when I do self-tapes, when you help read with me or when you help me shoot that, in the beginning, it's just like it's stiff and you need to warm up and and you help me in that respect a lot. Where we get the muscle going, and then, you know, the third take is when the magic sort of happens, you know, or when the juice starts flowing.
I always tell you this. I love because so for those of you that don't know Kabe, and you'll see in the description, Kabe's been on some shows that you know of, Billions, Blindspot. He's going to like hide his face right now. Law and Order SVU. Kabe's a really talented actor, but like many people in this business, it's not always easy, no matter how talented you are. And I don't know if this speaks for you, but because the industry can be so hard, and even if I kill in an audition and if I don't book it, I don't know, my nerves start to get like, I don't necessarily trust next time I have to audition or whatever. I don't just trust to jump into it, and I get like rusty. Yeah. Whereas, so like, I love with you when you like, maybe you're in your head, I'll say you're in your head a little bit, and then you just like, it's like you grease the wheels and you're like in.
And that's the best feeling, right? I mean, you almost kind of like black out, where you don't remember what just happened, but you know that you were in it, and you know your heart is beating, you know, at a higher rate, but not like, you know, you're not it's just that adrenaline, essentially.
Yeah.
And you're like, I don't know what just happened, but it happened. You're in, you know, people call like you're in the pocket, and it's the greatest feeling. I think it's really such an amazing feeling.
I'm just thinking about the audition that you had recently for the animated thing.
Yeah.
That you were like, I don't even know what I just did. Like, and it was so funny because when we started working on it, it was like one of the roles was like a samurai, right? It was
yeah, like a sword maker, and it was like it was they're different roles, right? One of was like a samurai trying to fit in, and the old wise man,
and it was so, but it was like so and then there was also like the tough guy.
Right.
The tough guy.
The tough guy.
That's like like Chandler from Friends.
So yeah, no, I remember one of the things you know, and it was like early in the morning, and well, not early for me, I suppose. And
it was 3 p.m., guys.
It was, I've only had like 2 cups of coffee, and I just wasn't feeling it. And you know, different techniques of bringing out the best in actors, and you know, you told me to, you know, shut off the light and, you know, put on shoes, and I said okay, and I put on one shoe, and you asked me, did you put on both shoes? I'm like, all right, fine. I put on both shoes, and I turned off the light, and I put on a jacket, and I was like, automatically I was just transported into a different world, and just you felt different, and all of a sudden the words were not just words, they were, you know, actions.
And being on the opposite, the receiving end of reading with Kabe, and just like I was so taken into it. That's what, like, Anthony, our acting teacher, one of our acting teachers, he would always be like, what the hell? What would he say? If you are fascinated, you'll be fascinating. And like, you know, and it's like I was so in it because you were. It like transported me. It's so cool. I love that. And it's right there with you. I always say that to you. It's like, it's right there. You have it. It's just like chipping off like the little sheet of like cool water, like, you know, and then it's like, and then you're just like swimming in all your glory. And it's like really freaking cool.
And what's great is like it's never the same thing, right? Sometimes you'll make a reference to, you know, a situation, you know, a personal situation or something. Sometimes it'll be mental or a memory exercise or whatever it is, but it's just whatever the scene calls for to really, and you often take me there, which I think is, you know, magical in a sense, because it's like, it's hard sometimes, guys. And it's like, you know, it's not pretending. Like, acting is not pretending, it's telling the truth in an imaginary circumstance. So it's not like, oh, you're such a good liar. It's like, no, you're being very honest. And that's the most captivating scenes or TV, you know? So
I just got the chills because it's like, I forget that, you know, it's just the perfect way you just said it, you know, it's being truthful in imaginary circumstances. But that's the thing is people are like, oh, you're you're faking, you're lying, you're just saying lines. But the thing, that's what's so hard about being an actor, is that they can't just be lines. You have to first make them the truth.
Yep.
So we first have to make them the truth. So that way, when we say them, we're not lying. And that's what makes people go like, that's the difference.
Yeah, absolutely. And you can tell, right? You know, our teacher says it's, the eyes are the gateway, and you can tell right off the bat. And, sometimes, with certain characters, it's easier to get there if they're more in your wheelhouse, and other times they're harder. But, each situation calls for, different ways of getting there. And that's our challenge, as being as truthful as we can, especially with characters that are not self-images.
100%. And finding what works for you, right? Like the individual, because like you and I are so different in what works for us, how to prepare for an audition. Mm-hmm. For you, you have your ways that in preparing help you to be well. And you've learned about me that I just need to be off book. But other than that, like I'm worse if I prepare.
Yeah, you have great instincts, and you just need, like, once we start getting into the story behind the story and the intention behind the intentions and all of that, it starts, you just, once you just fly. And a lot of times I'll even tell it to see with that, when when the pressure's off and you're the reader in my scene, you'll often get off book easier as a reader than I've ever seen you on your own sides, right?
So true.
And you'll start just yelling and shouting, and I'm like, whoa, like, take it easy there. Because, when you're on the other side, you just go, and it's beautiful to see. So it's like, if you can apply that same, practice and logic for, when you do sides, that's, and that's, but, it's so hard. That's like,
yeah.
And it's like,
It's so funny because, people always ask me that. They're like, so as a casting director, it must be so easy for you when you audition now because like how it works. And it's like, hold up. Anthony, our teacher, would always say like the hardest steps to take are the ones from, like in class, there would be the seats in the audience, and then there's like 2 feet until you hit the stage. And he'd be like, the ones from your seat to the stage. And it's like, because the second you're not in the audience and you are the actor on the stage, it's like the world flips upside down. Something shifts. And it's the same thing. I could be behind the camera and running the audition, but it's as soon as I get in front, it's like, dum, 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 dum. Like I feel it. I think it's very normal. I think it's because if you care, especially.
And I think the trick that he's taught us is to use that energy, right? Because we get nervous in real life when we talk to people in certain situations. If you're talking to your boss or, a significant other that, maybe you did something wrong, and, we have these nervousness and anxiety in real life, but we power through it and we talk to convey our message. And it's like, that's the same responsibility we have as whatever, character we are. So.
Yeah. What have you been doing? I know a lot of what you've been doing, but tell us what you've been doing over this time, what it's looked like for you. So in your description and when I introduce you, I say you're an entrepreneur. And if that is true for anybody, that is true for Kabe. I've never known somebody that knows so many different businesses and has like a hand in everything. So tell us a little bit about what you do. To be honest, I know you very well, and I still don't even know if I know every single parts of businesses that you do.
Yeah, you probably don't know that I used to have ownership in a nightclub too. I never told you that, right?
You briefly said that the other day, and we just glossed over it because we had to get going. And I was like, oh, hold on, nightclub? We didn't even get to talk about it.
Yeah, it's over the years. I think, myself and 2 other business partners, one of whom is my brother, we always look for different business opportunities. It doesn't really matter what industry it is. It could, we were looking at the restaurant business or, a spa business or anything. So, right now what we have is, part of what I do is we have a lakefront rental property. And it's a lakefront property. So it's up on, Airbnb. And so managing that takes a lot of time. Unfortunately, there was a travel ban. So in Pennsylvania, especially for these rentals. So, all the reservations got canceled.
Nuts.
But so that's something, but with that said, yeah.
Is that the one that you sent me the pictures of that's like sick?
It's a pretty nice house. Yeah, it's right in front of.
So you're being like modest. It's sick. Like, I don't even know. That's the thing, is the way your mind works, you and your brother, like with business. I don't even know how that comes about. Like, how to know how to do that. It's seriously, it's a talent, and not everybody has that. It's unbelievable.
It's all such a learning process, though. I could even say, even when we first got the house to now, we've learned so much about the rental business and what's important and just how much work it takes. People think, oh, you can put something up on Airbnb and you have to just respond and things like that, but you need to provide a really memorable and pleasant experience for the guests, and that takes a lot of work. That's one of the things that the travel ban was lifted in Pennsylvania, so we're starting to get new reservations, and I think that's we're seeing more reservations than ever before right now. I think people are afraid to fly. Yep. So the easiest thing is just get in a car and just go to the nearest river or lake. Hence our camping trip being planned. Yeah, exactly. And it's easy, and a lot of people are doing that, and it's that's why we're seeing people just kind of taking advantage of this. That's what we've been working on. And then the other aspect is, I own and operate a fitness center, and that's been also a bit of a challenging situation at this time. We haven't really gotten guidance from the governor. So we all thought it was going to be phase 4, along with movie theaters and clubs, but it looks like we're not. So we're still kind of figuring our way through that. But yeah.
And you had an auto body shop, because I'd been there before. Not anymore, but you had that.
Yeah, we had an auto repair shop. Yeah, that was for a couple of years. So we're never closed off to any idea, as long as it has potential to be a good business.
It's the way your brain works. Like, Kabe and I were talking the other day, because I guess I can share this, but Kabe supports me in, because we always work on auditions together and stuff, and I do teach classes and I coach, and Kabe, because you're awesome and he believes in me, and you've been pushing me to start doing that more, maybe making that a business, because I love it. It makes me happy, and Kabe believes in me. And my brain just doesn't work like that. So and you see it so clearly, and you're like, well, here's the steps. And it's like, to me, it's like my brain doesn't work like that.
Right.
And you didn't study business, though. You studied.
I studied economics, but not business. So economics is, it's.
Where did you study?
I studied economics at Yale. But
Kabe's so not a bragger, and I love it, because my brother's like a little smarty pants. And I said to my brother the other day, I'm like, Kabe went to Yale, and my brother probably thought I was kidding. He's like, wait, Kabe, did you really go to Yale? And Kabe's like, yeah, I really went to Yale. Yeah, he thought you were joking. I was like, no, he's smart.
Yeah, I wouldn't say that, but we got an economics. I got an economics degree, but it's so that was just. Yeah, it's not applicable, anything that you actually learn in classical economic theory.
Yeah.
But it's a lot of trial and error, and just being part of different businesses, and a lot of it's experience. Not all businesses have been successful, and you need to know you need to quickly be able to evaluate which ones are opportunities that you should take advantage of, and timing is also so crucial too. Especially in this opportunity, with the pandemic going on, there's so many terrible things. Obviously, we all know what the negatives are, right? But there are also positives, not only personal growth, but opportunities in the world and in the market. So, right now, not only do you have just more vacancies because there's more real estate inventory in general, but also the mortgage rate. The 30-year fixed rate is the lowest it's ever been in 50 years. And so, with prices dropping and the low mortgage rate, this is a great opportunity for first-time home buyers or even investment property buyers to really get into the real estate market at this time, if they're familiar with the area and things like that. But there's always opportunities, right? So it's just kind of keeping your eyes open and being observant of what's going on around you.
What if, like, so I was going to talk to you about this time, but I'm just curious, and I actually don't know the exact answer. How long ago was it that you started pursuing acting?
8 years ago.
8.
Yeah.
And you didn't study that. And did you do that at all growing up? Like,
no, I mean, I took some elective courses at Yale. Obviously their MFA program is, world renowned, but I didn't, I've taken a few things here and there just for fun. But no, after I had a career in finance, and I learned a lot, and it was, something I was pretty good at. And it's also eventually what afforded me the opportunity to then pursue these entrepreneurial pursuits, and then which also allows me flexibility to be an actor. So but about 8 years ago, I wanted to do something that meant something meaningful to me, and initially it was about getting your bank account as high as you can. And then it wasn't. And I just had a sort of a moment of realization that I wanted to do something that made me happy. So I went to different acting schools and studios. And
does it make you happy?
It does. I think when people ask me about it, they tell me that, I mean, I don't really notice it, but sometimes like they can't shut me up, but I have this like look in my eyes. Like they tell me like it's such a drive for me and a passion that I light up, that when I talk about it, and I don't really notice it. All I know is that I really want to talk about it and about like, how great it feels. It is almost like a drug. When you have a great audition, I physically feel high.
Yep.
Like you leave the room and it doesn't matter. You did your preparation and you go in there and you do everything you wanted to do, right? You weren't even, and it's not, you come out just knowing that you did something that felt good to you, whether it was a great performance or not. Objectively, it doesn't really matter. But when you have a great audition and you prepared and you leave the room, you're literally on cloud 9. I can't call enough people on my cell phone. I'm usually just like, shouting while I'm in the subway on the way back.
I love it. Like, I remember there was one before the pandemic, and like we prepped for it, and like it didn't matter whether you booked it or not. It would be great to book it, obviously, always. We always feel that way. But like, you did your work, you felt so solid in it, and you wrote like, I killed it. Like, you texted me when you got out, I killed it. And the joy in my heart, because I know what that feels like. It's the best. You were exactly who you were supposed to be at the moment you were supposed to be. Like, there's nothing quite like that.
Yeah, I still remember it was outside of the CBS studio, and I like, it's so vivid, the memory of like, oh, like you're just, it was just, and I really thought it went really well. We prepared for it together, and there was a lot of scenes, and it was just like, there were no nerves. It's just, it's really like a drug, like that. The dopamine release when you have a great audition, for me, it's unlike anything else.
Like you spoke about your other businesses and that some businesses don't succeed, and you've let go of the nightclub, you've let go of like the auto shop, and you've let go of things, and acting isn't always going perfectly. You haven't let go of it. You haven't let go of this business.
No, not at all. I don't intend to. I don't think it's not, unlike other businesses, this has probably the longest timeline, right? I mean, we always hear about the stories of people getting their first break, after 10, 20 years. Hopefully it won't be that long. But, businesses, I mean, they have a finite end to it, right? If you're essentially not if you're burning cash and not making a profit at a certain point, it's inevitable. You can't sustain the business. Acting though, it's a lifelong pursuit, and it's, you know, and I would never, I can't imagine myself ever giving it up.
That's the best thing. I was saying to somebody, it may have even been another episode or a big face. But for me, like when I've thought about it, because I envy that you have your own businesses and that you've created pockets for yourself of like figuring out how else to be successful in life while pursuing the thing that you love. Because for me, that's been a hard road, trying to figure out how to be financially sound, self-supportive, all that stuff. That's always been really hard. I was either going to be a psychologist or I was going to be an actor. And I studied psychology and sociology, you know that. But I'm an actor, and I always want to be an actor. But I so many times wish that I could just have a regular job, a regular schedule with normal income, so I can live a normal life like everybody else that I knew. And every time I thought to try and do that, it really does feel like something inside me would die. Like just the thought of it, like it just feels like the universe has me in its grips, and it's like I'm like, nope, I'm done with you, universe. Like, and it just feels so wrong. But I don't know if it can feel, for me, it can feel so hard to figure out how to make it work. And go ahead, please.
No, go ahead.
I was going to say, and so like for other people that may feel that way, because I'm sure a lot of people do. There's a lot of, you know, when we go to places and listen to big time casting directors or agents or people speak about the business. I've heard this many times, even being a casting director, I've heard them say, oh yeah, you can't have a job as an actor because you need to be available to go on auditions every single day. So like, we don't want to work with you if we're going to send you an audition and you're not going to be able to go. So what does an actor do? Then people think that the only jobs that they can do is wait tables or be a bartender.
Right.
And you're living proof and so am I, actually. We're both living proof that we've found other ways to keep pursuing our dreams. And we're still finding, I definitely am still trying to figure it out.
No, we all are.
I know.
I think the challenge is obviously right. Being able to continue to do this, because it's hard when, you know, you need to be able to, most actors, 95%, I'd say, I don't know, even more, probably can't make a living as being an actor, right? I think the number's probably higher than that. But it's, you know, if you really want to succeed, then you will figure out a way. You have, you know, yes, you won't be able to be as available, but yeah, I mean, a lot of people are forced to being bartenders and being servers because they need the flexibility. And
right. But on that point, I just want to say to anybody that is watching or listening, this just hit me just like the second. This is another reason why it's so important to have people that know you, that support you in your creativity and as a person, that have your back. Like Kabe has my back, and he pushes me, and he's pushing me to like start making some of the things that I love and that I'm good at a business. And that could feel, for myself, that can feel hard, but it's important to have people that believe in you, that can see what is not always easy for me to see in myself. And I know for Kabe, for you too, I say things to you and I see them so clearly, but you could be modest or hard on yourself, like I can identify with, and you don't always see those things, if that's okay for me to say.
Yeah, of course. Yeah, you know, and I think, you don't quite realize how hard I'm going to push you to do this. But listen, I've got my checklist on, you know, how to, because with each person, you know, you have to approach it differently. And for you, this is, I thought this was the perfect thing for you, because at the end of the day, like, directing is something that you're awesome at as well. And so if you combine, like, sociology is you know, the world, the study of what like people like behaviors and observation, and psychologists then everything inside the head. So it's really a perfect marriage of all of the things that you studied. And though it's not exactly being a psychologist or a psycho.
No, I can be a psycho. No, it's good.
I think
I'll take
it. So being a you know, it's not being a therapist or a psychologist, but you're using all of those tools, everything you've learned, you know, that you have your degree and also your passion. So I think being, you know, a teacher is something that you currently do. And, you know, I know for a fact that you have people who learn with you and then repeatedly want to come back and learn with you. And that's something, it's really quite significant. I remember, you know, we've all had the same experiences where you go and you take a class or a seminar and you're like, oh boy, that was a waste of not only time, but money.
Yeah.
And, you know, I know, you know, feedback from your students have been really, really great. And they want to always, you know, they want to come back because it's like once you have that experience of having a breakthrough with the teacher, like we had with Anthony, that feeling is you can't, you know, you want to repeat that in your life. Yeah. And so you just, you know, so I think you're going to be incredibly successful as an acting teacher and a coach and all of the things you do.
Thank you.
So I hope you're ready.
Thank you.
I got a 6-step plan for you.
I believe it. I'm like waiting for the spreadsheet. It's so funny because I only knew that I loved acting. I never knew. And this is like, goes back to you saying yes to things. And just like, you never know who you're going to meet, what connections you're going to make. For myself, I never knew I'd like anything else, that I could love anything like I loved acting. And I love directing and I love teaching. I never knew something could make me so happy. So like saying yes.
Yeah, especially in this industry where it's a lot about who you meet and when you meet them. And are you able to connect the dots, right? Even if it's not obvious. Are you able to bring different worlds together? I can't even tell you how many times I've had projects that came together, but from like actors and directors from all like 3 different projects. And it's, you know, when you find good people to work with, it's natural to collaborate and you want to do it, and then it happens. And so you just have to say yes to opportunities and just be willing to you know, invest some time. And you know, if you're investing an hour in a meeting or an interview, don't expect to get an hour's worth of knowledge, because that's not realistic and we don't do that in life. But if you can get that 1 or 2 pieces of you know, newfound information, that's everything. And how you interpret that and how you apply that, you know, we talk about like the light bulb going off, and it only takes, you know, the littlest thing to trigger it. So
I can vouch for you on that. Like during this time of quarantine, you show up to seminars, you listen, you show up to these things that are offered, and you'll always say to me, you're like, I may not get like so much, but I always wind up getting like a kernel. I wind up getting something that's useful. You've really shown up during this time.
Yeah, thanks. I've been trying. This has really been a great learning experience for myself, because it really, I mean, you know, I spent this time, as you know, building out my website, which I've been putting off for years, literally 3 or 4 years. I've been putting it off, and finally sat down and did it. It wasn't one sitting.
I was like, damn, you're good, but you ain't that good.
And I do the Actors Connection free at 3.
Yep. And,
you know, just on that, it's an opportunity to meet different casting directors and associates and get information about them. So if for example, a casting director, some casting directors won't open mail, and others will, you know, will spend the day going through all the postcards. And it's like, it's important to know the differences between, you know, different casting houses and how to approach it for to continue and foster your relationships. So I take notes, and I all these calls are not just listening for fun. It's informational and research for me.
I'm kind of smiling because like, as you're talking, I'm thinking about, so for those of you that don't know Kabe or that don't know me personally, like, it's funny because I'm seeing why we work so well together. Your mind is so good when it comes to like details of things. And, you know, your spreadsheet, this guy has a working spreadsheet, and I won't go into detail, but he is meticulous about keeping track of his career, the steps he's taken, footwork he's done. And he works really hard to keep up with that. And whereas I'm more like, not that I'm not like diligent with things, but we're a good combo of you pushing me to focus more on those things, and I'm good for you in helping you focus, I think, on letting go of some of that stuff and I think that's why we work well together.
Yeah, I like structure in a lot of ways, as far as not like structured like living, but in my processes or the way I think, or if I'm going to take on a task, I like having structure.
Yeah.
And I mean, a lot of that was just kind of out of necessity, right? You need to be very organized and structured if you're going to have a successful business. But I take that same approach for, you know, like you said, about tracking my auditions and casting notes and things like that. And sometimes like we all need, you know, and I think that's what I provide for you, is that you have a lot of great depth of knowledge, and your mind works in very abstract, like artistic ways, which is amazing. But then you have to kind of structure that to make it a viable business. So I just kind of, you know, create that little box with shelves, and you're like, all right, well, this is where,
you funnel it through like this, like, well thought out bookcase of like how to categorize things and organize, you know, like, you're very good at that.
Thanks. And and then how to,
skill.
Materialize that into something that, you know, and it's not just about the money. Imagine like, I mean, doing something you love. And I've seen when you know, you're one of those people where, you know, the time slot of when you're supposed to teach is almost irrelevant. Because I know if it's 6 to 8, I'm not going to call you at 8:01. Like, it's going to be like 8:40, and you're going to be like, I'm still on, or, you know, like, it's not about that. Like, you love to give, and you love to see people transform. And if you can use that to, you know, build a career and, you know, stay within the same industry, that's a rarity. And if I can help you do that, then I'm right there with you.
Thank you, man. You're a good friend and a good actor. So just like Kabe said, you just never know where you're gonna meet people or what it's gonna turn into. Kabe and I met in acting class, and we met over that our dogs growing up like had the same name, Gizmo. Yes. Yeah. And then we took the train. We didn't even know we lived near each other. We took the train, and we just wound up like not saying what we were thinking about something, but we both knew what we were thinking, but we both didn't know each other well enough to say it. And we just laughed like an entire train ride so hard. This was like, it was our first time ever like really hanging out. And months later we met up for coffee, and we became best friends. And like, now we're creating a web series together, and we're great supports in life, I think, for one another. I can say you definitely are for me. And that's a really wonderful thing.
Yeah, it's really rare, but I still remember that train ride where I remember these bones right here. It was hurting. It was like sore. It was like, imagine like, it's rare too. And that was one of the most memorable train rides. And I was like, what a cool person to
know, ditto.
And then I was like, and it was just, and then the fact that now we can actually continue to be in each other's lives, and
I know,
like, just compliment each other is really, I'm really grateful for that. And,
me too.
You know, and that's another thing that I'm trying to really embrace during this time is, you know, being grateful for moments and not trying to achieve this like grand, I always thought, you know, once you make X amount of money, or if my bank account has X many dollars, or, if I land this particular role, I'll reach that level of happiness at 10, and yes, I'll get there. And it's not like that.
It's not. For
And
me, definitely not.
I've taken time to really be, I told you about, I think it's really important to journal at a time like this when you're going through isolation and you don't really have enough the same level of interaction, social interactions.
Yeah.
And so it's really helpful for your mind to sort it all out by writing it. And I'm not talking about pages and pages. You literally get up and, have your cup of coffee and jot down 5-6 sentences. And it just really, and if you have a moment to write down things you're grateful for, like that's what I've been doing.
Yeah.
And it's just, I look back on it, and even the ones, my notes from like a week ago, I'm like, oh, that was cool. Yeah.
Right.
It's really been a learning experience this time for me, and I don't know what it's gonna look like on the other end, but all I know is you can come out of this pandemic either the same or worse or better, and I hope for all of us that we remain strong enough and connected enough, and so that we come out when production or when things get back to the new normality, that we'll have really fought through this period and found ourselves at the other side just stronger and more self-aware. Being mindful is some of the things that I've been working on, and I think we don't do enough of that.
I know. I think I agree with you, and I can definitely say that I've witnessed that for you over this time. I've witnessed you really taking time to find the joys in the small things and the gratitudes, and being more mindful, and laughing at yourself when you're not, which is awesome. Well, what happened recently? Were you driving? Oh yeah, and you were like, this person, blah, blah. And I was like, what did I say?
Because I was having a bit of road rage, and I've just been telling her about this, the new happiness podcast and how I'm taking all these steps to achieve happiness. And then in a moment of rage, road rage, I said something, and you said, yeah, that's the stuff of true happiness right there. And I was like, yeah, you're right. I was like, you know how we all get in that moment of like, she almost she cut me off, and yeah, it was, even talking about it, but it's like, I felt so like, and that's what it is, so hard. Like, even if you know what the right thing to do is, right? It's a constant struggle, and you totally called me out on it. That was so funny.
So funny, dude.
Yeah, I was like, you're right. Let me let this go. And I was we were actually meeting up at the park to go over a scene, a Neil LaBute play, right?
Yep. That we have to work more on, by the way.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah.
But now we've got a couple of,
we got fish to fry with this web series. It's
coming, folks.
This baby soon. Yeah. You guys hang in there. Hold your horses.
Yeah. Well, don't. Yeah.
I know you've been totally waiting for this, Kabe. So it's the feather in your cap part of my episode.
Yes,
so
I've heard about it.
You have heard about this.
But honestly, you told me not to think about it, and I'm pretty good at just keeping my mind blank sometimes.
That's amazing. So for those of you that have not listened or watched, thanks a lot. Just kidding.
They're probably not listening. Yeah,
I know. They're like, all right, she sucked. Who's this guy? So feather in your cap. I call that an achievement or a success, something that maybe you've learned that you could use in the future, or that you can use even at a time right now, that would be useful and helpful for you. So I usually ask my guest if they could offer a feather that they've been able to find and put in their cap and offer it to our viewers or listeners. So Kabe, sir, I'm so glad you haven't thought about this. I know now you've been, but what would be a feather that you could offer?
So I think it kind of all connects back to saying yes to things. And what I've recently realized is that I've learned the power of collective intelligence. And what I mean by that is you could be the smartest person and have the greatest ideas, but it's just always so worth it to share with and to get input from others around you, because it's, you know, you can look at the same piece of writing or the same, you know, piece of art, and different people will have such different opinions. And I remember I was trying to figure out a solution to something, and I thought I had the perfect solution. I honestly, I was like, oh, this makes perfect sense. But then I kept on asking for input and suggestions from the people who are close to me, and they made these amazing suggestions. And I was like, oh, you know what? I never even thought of that. And the power of collective intelligence that I've sort of been realizing is really powerful. So I'm now saying yes to asking other people for their opinions and thoughts, and really pooling together ideas for me, and then coming up with a solution that hopefully is optimal. But that's not, yeah, I don't know whether I answered your question or not.
No, you did. You
Okay.
definitely did. That's really good.
Like, I'm the kid, so I think, thank you. No, like, the thing is, like, I love to learn, right? To the point where, like, you know, if someone corrects me, like, I'm thrilled about it, because I'm like, oh, well, thank you. Like, it's great new knowledge. Like, I'm the guy who follows around, you know, if there's a plumber or the super comes to your apartment, like, I'm the one kind of following him around, asking him questions, because I'm like, oh, wait, so why does that valve have that rubber fitting? And wait, why did you use that? And what tool are you using? And I do that with, like, all, like, electricians. I just do that because I just find it fascinating. And eventually, awesome. I think, like, you kind of categorize it, and then you eventually either learn to solve the problem yourself or apply it in other aspects of your life. And just kind of going around collecting knowledge, especially now, because there's so many places that are offering, and I think it's great, people in our industry are offering free advice or free classes or free things right now, because obviously financially people are struggling. And just jumping on and just gaining that, like, just building up your wealth of knowledge.
Yeah.
And one day you'll find a way to kind of put it all together. So yeah, I'm really dialing it up at this point.
And even if you don't find a way to put it all together, that, like you just said, that wealth of knowledge, to know even a little bit about this and this is you are so much better prepared to go to those things in life than to know not even a piece of anything. It's just good to be well informed.
Yeah,
and knowledgeable.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Yeah, and I think I always have been like that, but I think I'm more so because as you own your own business ventures, you quickly realize that the easiest way to fix a problem is to do it yourself. And so if something is leaking, you know, I'll be like, oh, well, I remember when, you know, he got the Teflon tape and he used this fitting and he did this. And so you just kind of use your imagination and you know, figure out your own sort of solution. And you can't, you know, a lot of times I find myself saving not just money, but like time. And there's a peace of mind too, to knowing, hey, listen, I kind of have the basic knowledge to fix something that needs to be fixed.
I'm sorry, I'm laughing because I'm realizing, first of all, the whole time you're talking, I'm picturing everything you're saying, but in little boy Kabe, like the plumbers at your house, and you're like, why are you using that plastic thing over there? Why aren't you using the metal one in your box? Like, I'm just like picturing you.
That was my exact voice, by the way. Perfect. That was such a great impression.
I'm good at voices.
That was good. That's, you know, what's
so
funny?
Cool.
I think I might have told you this, but I was taking improv at the Pit, and the biggest issue I had was in improv, you're not supposed to solve the problem. And my improv teacher kept on saying, stop trying to fix the problem. And I would always, because the scene would end if you're supposed to heighten it, right?
Yes,
make it
end.
even worse. Yes,
Right.
and just make it worse. But I'm like, no. Oh, that's a disaster. And instead of finding, I would just solve that issue. And
here's your key. Go home.
Right. And it's like the worst in improv. So that was something that I had to unlearn. It goes against my nature, which is useful in every other aspect of your life. But
yes.
Completely catastrophic in improv. So
oh my God, it's amazing.
Those of you out there, stop trying to fix the problem in improv.
That's amazing. I don't know if you ever told me that. Okay, and just on this point, I've been asking you since we've become close. I want to see a baby picture of you.
Okay.
Or a little kid picture. Any of your growing up pictures.
What, you mean right now?
No, I mean, I won't make all these people look at your little baby face, but
exactly. Okay.
I'll post it with the episode, guys. Don't worry.
That was completely non sequitur. What was that from?
Because I was picturing you as a little kid.
Oh, gotcha.
And I still don't know what you've looked like as a little kid.
Yeah, I had really, really chubby cheeks. Like, really. Yeah, I'll show you a picture.
Yeah, you have to show me a picture. It's
Maybe
funny.
We'll post it.
When oh my God, that'd be awesome if I post it. If I have your permission, otherwise I know you'd kill me. But isn't it cool, like when you're that connected with somebody, I think, like you and I, we haven't been friends. We've been friends a couple of years, but it's like we've been friends for our whole life. So it's almost like you kind of want to know somebody through all the time that you didn't know them. I don't know. I don't know. I do, at least. That might be a me thing.
Yeah, I just don't do, yeah. I don't even know where all my pictures are.
I know you've said that since I've known you. And I'm like, I'm going to ask your sister if you don't have any.
It's somewhere, but yeah, I don't know why. Although now our worlds are all about headshots and, pictures and, things like that.
Oh my God, I want a baby Kabe picture. Let that be my next birthday present. Baby Kabe in a frame.
You got it. I can take care of that for you.
I love it. We could talk. I mean, for those of you listening or watching, Kabe and I are going to end this interview, and we're going to talk on the phone for 4 hours for the rest of the day because we do that every day. But is there anything, I mean, there's so much that you could share that you always share with me and that you have to offer. Is there anything that we didn't really talk about though that you would like to? I mean, there's so much, but it
is. And it's I think we have what some people call a time windfall, or, an extraordinary time to take advantage of an abundance of time. And I've been, for me at least, kind of going against everything my mind and my body has told me, meditating or doing breath work or, journaling, all these things that I was so resistant to, because I guess the excuses were, I'm so busy. But
yeah,
we before this, we kept on going. Every day was just one thing after another. And I've really been open to learning new things, and, things are fine. Right. But it's this period has made me realize maybe there's something else. And maybe it's time to try things that are unnatural, uncomfortable for me, because I think that's where you have the most amount of growth, right? To do things that make you uncomfortable. And I've been more willing to accept that challenge for myself, and I'm embracing it. So I think everyone who's listening should really. I think it'd be nice if you just kind of kind to yourself and allow yourself to kind of take in this moment to reflect and try new things, whether it's gardening or baking or meditating or anything. But there's a YouTube channel for everything. So it's you really can teach yourself so many things. And if you can come out of this with even this, the littlest change that makes you happy, and then I think it's amazing.
That's awesome, Cabes. And there's one more thing that I already know you're going to add to your repertoire, but it's the breathwork stuff. I will tell you, and we'll talk more about it later, but I started the Wim Hof course and did the breathing today for the first time before I came and did the interviews for the documentary. wow. I'll just say wow, and we'll talk more about it. But it's a crazy experience. It was really cool. So we'll talk. But all right. So you're gonna come and visit again anyway.
Yeah. Okay. Oh, you mean, like, I thought you meant your place.
Well, yes, that too. But
like, I'll see
but on the
you
show,
like, right after this. Yeah.
you're like, yeah, like I'm coming to pick you up in 5 minutes. No, but you'll come back on the show. I hope so. I'm sure that after everybody sees this, I'm sure that they're going to want to hear from you again.
Nice.
He's laughing, but I'm being serious. It's really, you have a lot of wonderful things to share, and so thank you for being here.
Thank you. Thanks for having me on. I enjoyed it.
Thank you so much. And guys, thank you so much for tuning in, or, listening, watching, whichever way that, you chose to be here. If you did, if you didn't, you're missing out. And so thank you, Kabe Park, my friends, talented mofo. I will put all your info along with the episode so people can find you, look at your stuff. I will definitely be putting his website that is finished. And is it kabepark.com?
Yes.
Okay. So that will go along with his info. But yeah, so join us again next week and support us, keep this thing going so we can all stay connected, like, rate, subscribe to Big Face. And I really appreciate you guys. Kabe, I really appreciate you and for being here and making this an awesome day and episode for me.
Thanks.
Love you, man.
Thanks. Love you too.
I love you. All right. Bye, guys. Thank
Bye,
you so
everybody.
much. Say what you were going to say.
No, what I'm saying is, like, there's been so many times where I'm like, I know, like, okay, this is a situation. I've thought about all the permutations of, like, how to approach this, and this is the right answer, and this is the right way to pursue this. And I'll be all ready, and then on some casual conversation, it'll come up, and, somebody will mention something, and I'll be like, oh, you know what? I totally didn't think about that from that other perspective. And so it's not any mentor. It could be someone completely unrelated.
Yeah.
Keeping an open mind. I don't know. I just found that I've been realizing that. I even looked up collectiveintelligence.com because I wanted to do something with this. Someone's already some other consulting company. Someone's taken it. But I really want to, like, this collective intelligence thing. I think there's something to it about, like, we all know about pooling resources together.
Yeah.
But it's like a think tank, right? And then I don't know, but for me recently, these little like I've been struck with little ideas that they're just coming from completely unexpected places. So
I dig it.
Yeah.